Most definitely. And one of the points that I mentioned in terms of Iran's choices is the Strait of Hormuz. And when I take a look at the stats in terms of what that closure would mean, it's just staggering. 20% of the world's oil, okay, we know that. Major oil producers, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, the UAE, they're going to obviously take a huge hit. You have the dependence of Asia, and that's the part that I want to ask you about. See, the U.S. is not depending on oil from the Persian Gulf as much as before. But if it was to attack and the Strait of Hormuz gets closed, you have Asia that's very dependent. So China would take a hit along with other countries like Japan and South Korea. But then there's this knock-on effect where if they get hit, then their economies were to suffer, that would somehow impact the U.S. economy as well, because obviously they trade with the U.S. So isn't that something that the U.S., goes back to what I said, if they really thought this through, that the U.S. would suffer as well?
Absolutely. The Gulf states' economies would also be hit, and that would have significant ramifications in their relations with Washington and their allies. But for the United States, if there is an oil shock as a result of the closure of the Straits of Hormuz, that is not an oil shock that is going to be confined to the Persian Gulf producing countries and the GCC countries, who you rightly say, the Far East Asia Pacific are their number one clients. Yes, that will affect supply in the Asia Pacific region, but the price, that's going to be felt in the United States as well, because this is the global oil price. Now, to avoid that, and that would have huge inflation implications in a U.S. environment economically that's already riddled with inflationary pressures. That is the defining issue really for this president domestically in the United States. So they won't be able to contain that. The price of everything will go up, and that will reverberate through the entire economy right now. And consumer spending is already in a very precarious position. And that's Americans vote with their wallets at the end of the day. So that would, I think, that would be unavoidable. For Trump, that would be something that he would be seriously considering. At least his advisors, I would expect they would have to implement price controls in America. I don't see that happening.
No.